Welcome everyone to the sixth episode of Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. As always, we're very excited to be on the air right now. Thanks to those listening on the TuneIn app currently. Please don't forget to subscribe to the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page where you can watch every show live on YouTube. Today's show is brought to you by, of course, Southern Classic Transportation, comfort and courtesy unrivaled. They are based in Atlanta, so if you need to travel, they will pick you up, take you wherever you need to go in style and comfort, whether it's in the city or even in another state. Make sure you visit SouthernClassicLimo.com and let Dennis know that Around the ATL sent you. As always, our other sponsor is IMTMWorldwideImages.com. If you need headshots for business or acting headshots since you're in Atlanta, or if you need modeling or promotional photos, or even family or maternity pictures, make sure you contact IMTMWorldwideImages.com or call 706-393-8426 and let them know Around the ATL sent you. Let's go ahead and bring in our co-host for today's show. Longtime Atlanta sports fan and sports writer who is always in and about Atlanta at any given time of the day, Jordan Jackson. How are you today, sir?
What's going on, sir? As always, it's great to talk to the people on Sports Visions 92.1 FM because, of course, we are the people show. And we got a lot going on in Atlanta sports, everything from, Hawks to United to just, all around the sports spectrum in Atlanta sports, Georgia sports, including our local teams. With that being said, sir, let's talk about them.
Well, that's a great segue as we're talking about our local teams. We have a golf league that we're involved with in Atlanta. Jordan, tell us a little bit about the TGL.
The TGL is an interesting golf league because it combines kind of virtual reality technology with actual golfing. So basically, the competitors are choosing an iron and doing like a drive into a screen. But then once you get to the green part of the hole, they actually have these greens that kind of can shift and they can change the shape of them to mimic different holes. And so you're actually putting onto that surface in order for your short game with golf. With that being said, we have the Atlanta Drive here in Atlanta representing Atlanta for the TGL. And in their most recent matchup, they defeated Boston 6-3. That clinched a playoff spot. They're currently third in the standings, but I think that they're trailing by some kind of tiebreaker because they have the same amount of points as the number 2 team in the standings. And just to let you guys know, the Atlanta team is made up of Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Lucas Glover, and Billy Horschel. That is the Atlanta Drive Golf Club's roster, sir.
That is really cool. And I can't remember, it might have been Patrick or one of the other guys had the Dominique jersey on. I saw Matt Ryan at a match not too long ago. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so the cool thing about it, also, if you watch it on TV, you really get to hear the interaction between the golfers. You hear them talk trash. After a good shot, they may hit a little dance. So they're a lot more informal with the TGL than they would be on a Sunday at Augusta, for example.
It's pretty cool. Jordan, go ahead and catch us up on the College Park SkyHawks for us, if you could.
Yes, sir. The College Park SkyHawks most recently lost their last game, 96-119 against the Salt Lake City Stars. The Skyhawks were led by Tony Bradley's 28 points and 13 rebounds. Also, we'd like to look in on Nikola Duricic, our second-round pick from this past season. He had 12 points and 4 assists, but he struggled with the shooting only 3 of 11 from the floor and 0 of 3 on his threes. And also Daquan Plowden, who's a two-way contract guy with the Hawks. He had 9 points. He also struggled with his shot as well. 3 of 12 from the floor, 0 of 7 on his threes. The loss dropped Atlanta to 12 wins, 8 losses, which is 4th in the East in the NBA G League, sir.
All right. Well, they're still in it. The Atlanta Vibe are on a 2-game losing streak currently. They lost their most recent to the Indy Ignite 3-1, and most recently also to the Columbus Fury 3-0. So they're on a 2-game losing streak. Against the Ignite, Leah Edmond led the team with 16 points, and Molly Monserez had 35 assists. Against the Fury, Leah again led the team with 16 points, and then Mia Tuaniga led the team with 34 assists. So hopefully they snap that streak pretty soon against the Orlando Valkyries, which they play on March 1st. So remember, you can watch all of their matches on the Real Pro VB YouTube page to watch and support the girls. Columbus River Dragons. Now, the River Dragons were recently swept a home and home with the Blue Ridge Bobcats 3-1 and 4-1. Then they lost to the Athens Rock Lobsters 6-1. Then they went and beat the Monroe Moccasins 5-2 to go 2-1 in their last three. One thing about the River Dragons, they can score some goals on anybody. So they're a very exciting team, which is why you need to go and support them at the Columbus Civic Center every week when you can. They're 20-11 so far and third in their conference. They have two players with 18 goals and one with 19 goals this season, just to let you know how much they score. For the Columbus Storm, I forgot to do the River Dragons right there. Columbus Storm won their first game of the season 19-13 against the Force. So they started their season 1-0 as they look to defend their championship from a year ago. I have reached out to them to see if I can get some details. It's kind of I had to try to look for some details. I couldn't find any. So I reached out to the team personally. So hopefully they can catch me up really soon. Jordan, we got a lot of basketball to talk about today. Can you start us off with some HBCU talk, sir?
Yes, sir. Most recently in HBCU men's basketball, Morehouse defeated Clark 85-79 in double overtime. And then they went on to beat Allen 83-51. That's three straight wins for the Morehouse Tigers. And that runs their record up to 16-12, third in the SIAC East. Clark is now 17-9, first in the SIAC East. Albany State 92, Fort Valley State 95. Albany State, after losing that game, turned around and beat Edward Waters 96-89. Their record is now 17-10, second in the SIAC East. You have Fort Valley State 52, Savannah State 68. That dropped Fort Valley's record to 11-16, sixth in the SIAC East. You also had Savannah State beating Edward Waters 66-44. That ran Savannah State's record to 13-11, number 5 in the SIAC East, sir.
All right. And continuing some college basketball in Georgia, UGA. They gave it a shot against the number 1 Auburn Tigers, but they fell short 82-70. Asa Duell had 20, Silas Damari had 18, but Johnny Broom of Auburn was too much, 31-14. He was killing them. Now, despite this, being their 4th loss in a row and looking like they had no momentum going into the eventual SEC tournament, guess what? Just happened. They just beat 3rd-ranked Florida 88-83 in a close one. So that's pretty big. So they got a little bit going on for them, so don't count them out just yet. Some more college basketball, Columbus State University basketball. The men's team, the Cougars of Columbus State in Columbus, Georgia, are 23-3 so far, 14-2 in the conference with a 7-game win streak. Most recently, they beat Lander University 75-67 at the Frank G. Lumpkin Center in Columbus, Georgia. Jared Atherton had 21 and Jordan Mitchell off the bench had 17. They have a very well-balanced team right now, and they look to wrap up the regular season March 2nd against Georgia College. Y'all need to go and support them. The ladies, of course, are also doing well. They're 18-7, 12-4 in the conference, respectively, with their most recent win also against Lander University, 97-57. They destroyed them. Latia Reeves had 21, and Olanda Rawls had 18 to lead the team. They also finished the season at home on March 2nd against Georgia College. They play at 1 right before the guys, so make sure you go support. So that gets us into some high school basketball. Jordan, what's going on in Atlanta so far, sir?
A lot of Atlanta teams still alive in the state playoffs, sir. For 6A, round 2, Grayson beat Meadow Creek 76-38. Norcross 63, McEachern 60, Walton 66, Westlake 60. In 5A, round 2, you had Woodward 58, Milton 56 in a squeaker. You had Langston Hughes 81, Lanier 53, Lee County 69, Rome 52, and Tri-Cities 89, Sprayberry 71. 4A round two, you got Union Grove 78. They're out of McDonough. St. Pius X 59. Pace Academy 80. Kale 50. Tucker 62. East Forsyth 59. Jonesboro 85. Cambridge 69. Westminster 65. Midtown 52. McDonough 78, Southwest DeKalb 70, Mays 74, Alatoona 34, North Oconee 79, Marist 61. Real quickly in 3A, your round two scores were Sandy Creek 60, Westover 47, Windsor Forest 73, Douglas High School 69, Cedar Grove 68, Luella 60, and Doherty 64, Calhoun 57, sir.
All right. In the Columbus, Georgia area, we only had a few teams to make it to the 2A round. For the guys, Carver beat Rutland 71-33. Crisp County beat Shaw 72-40, so they're out. Spencer beat Thorell 62-54, and Kendrick gets beat by South Atlanta 66-47. Then that very next week, Carver beats Burke County 75-54. Spencer in a close one beats Crisp County 51-49. So those are the only two schools that advanced to the quarterfinals out of Columbus for the guys. They play again on the 26th. For the ladies, the Lady Carver Tigers beat Carver of Atlanta 72-38. Hardaway beats Jackson 76-22. Next round, Hardaway beat Franklin County 81-22. And then Carver squeezed out a win 43-38 to advance for the ladies. So this week, Hardaway will play Columbia and Carver will play Morgan County. And hopefully we'll see one of our Columbus teams make it to the Final Four. So that's the first half of the show so far, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM as we take a quick break. We're going to get to talk about the Atlanta Braves as spring training has started. We're going to talk some Atlanta Hawks basketball, even a little bit of Atlanta United. So don't go anywhere as we get ready to do our second half of Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM.
You're listening to Around the ATL with Chris and Jordan. We'll be right back with more Atlanta sports talk.
And we are back on Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM. Nice little break on Geeked Up there, representing the ATL, of course. So guess what? We're finally here. Didn't think we were going to get to this point somehow. Spring training is here, folks. The Atlanta Braves baseball team, they're playing baseball again. It's a very exciting time, obviously. We've been waiting for all these months to get back to it. So far, they've played two games. They lost to the Twins 3-1. Chris Sale did pitch two scoreless innings. Then they lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 4-2, where Ian Anderson in 1 2/3 innings gave up 3 walks, a hit, a run right off the bat. Anyway, next games will be against the Red Sox and the Pittsburgh Pirates. So here are some of the questions coming into this season. The loss of Max Fried, how much is that going to hurt the Braves long term? Acuna, will he come back to MVP form or a form that he'll be able to at least produce and help the team this year, right? Who steps up in place of Max Fried? Can we go the whole season without any major injuries? Will the shortstop position be an issue still? Have the Braves solved left field? Can Chris Sale have a similar season to last year? Will Raleigh and Izzy have great years this year? Will this be a big year for Money Mike Harris? Can Ozuna duplicate his year from last year? Will Spencer Strider return to a dominant form? And what will Profar bring to the table? So, Jordan, so far, what are your thoughts? Spring training, we can kind of grain of salt, so to speak, but what are you looking forward to as far as the Braves this season.
Well, one of the big things that I want to see is can Jurickson Profar repeat his season from last year, in which he hit 280 with 24 home runs, at 158 hits. That was by far the best year of his career. And apparently, the Atlanta Braves think that he figured something out last year. That's why they were willing to pay him to come here. And they're betting that he can continue his play from last season. If he can, that's going to be big because he could be in the outfield along with Ronald Acuna and Michael Harris when Acuna gets back in the lineup. But also, on games where you may start Jared Kelnick, Profar has the ability to play some second base and some shortstop in the pinch. So he can also be, a guy you can move around, do some switches with and things of that nature to get the matchups you want late in ball games. The other key for the Braves, and some of what you mentioned, is the injured guys returning to form. How good is Ronald Acuna after coming back from injury? That's going to be big. We're going to need Matt Olson to have a bounce back year. He hit only 29 home runs last year after hitting over 50 the previous year. Also, Austin Riley is going to be key, another one of your key, RBI guys. He only hit 19 home runs last year after hitting over 30 the year before that. And so, that's going to be the major key is the bounce back of the previous guys, Ozzie Albies as well, who was injured quite a bit last year and only hit 10 home runs. We know he's typically, close to 30. Also with the pitching staff, the same thing. Spencer Strider is going to absolutely be the key. We really need him to return to the form of an ace if we're going to be all that we can be, especially being that we didn't really pick up another frontline type guy and lost Max Fried and lost Charlie Morton, who, wasn't quite the same player as he used to be, but still pitched quite a few innings for us. So those are the things I'm looking for. And one of my big concerns is the lack of depth with the starting pitching, depending on a guy like Grant Holmes to be able to start full time. And if he's not ready to go or something happens with him, then you're depending on Ian Anderson to step into the lineup. And I hate to say it, sir, but we're probably only two disabled list stints away from Bryce Elder starting games for the Atlanta Braves once again, sir.
See, oh, okay. So I got to go right past that real quick because I was about to say something. So possible pitching starters until Strider returns. Sale, Lopez, Schwellenbach, Grant Holmes, possibly Ian Anderson as the fifth. Our starting lineup in regards to hitters until Acuna gets back. Harris, Profar, Riley, Olson, Ozuna, Izzy, Murphy, Kalenic, Arcia. One last question, be brief. Can this team win a World Series, Jordan?
I think they absolutely can because they're a talented team. Now, there are absolutely some great teams in Major League Baseball, particularly in the National League, including the Phillies and the Mets who have great rosters in your own division. So I think they can, but will they is another question that's yet to be answered, sir.
And we got a long season to talk baseball, so we'll come back again with another segment next week for sure. We're going to get in some Atlanta United. We've been kind of missing out on them the last couple of weeks, so we're going to catch up right now. Atlanta United, they won their last match 3-2. The newest member of the Five Stripes, Latte Loth, had 2 goals, and Mosquera had a goal as well. Currently, they're off to a great start. They're in the conference, and there's a real buzz again in Mercedes-Benz, especially with Miguel coming back, having a new manager and everything. So I'm really excited about the Atlanta United as a team this year. So as we get ready to finish up the show, we got one more segment to talk, and that is the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, for the Hawks to win, if you've seen any previous episodes of the show, I've said for us to still maybe finish 6th, we need Zachary Richardson to be Rookie of the Year. Can't have any more, made shots for the whole game type of a game, right? Or Okongwu has to be consistent. Yang has to be starting so he can get the majority of the shots as he's our best shooter now, basically. Harris and Mann have to deliver each night. Mohamed Gay has to be consistent, right? We know We know what Trey and Dyson are going to do for the most part, but then sometimes Dyson has those games where he's a little inconsistent from the shot perspective, right? The Hawks lost the first two games of the second half of the season by 6 points to the Orlando Magic at home, 114 to 108. Game we really needed to win. Then we lost to the Pistons at home, 148 to 143. But then recently, the Hawks beat the Miami Heat, 98 to 86. Only gave up 86 points, right? Interesting note, Trae Young for the month of February is averaging 30 points and 11.9 assists a game. Nobody in the NBA is doing that, right? He's first in assists per game, clutch assists, clutch points, potential assists at 21 a game. People are still missing shots, unfortunately. Trae Young is in his last four games, 38 points, 19 assists, 38.6 assists, 38 points and 13 assists. And then the most recent game, 11 points, 14 assists. Yet it was this Miami game that you have people out there saying, well, he went 4 for 14 from the floor. Trae isn't consistent. People are saying that right now. Seriously, and they're trying to blame Trae again for losses again. After I just told you what I just told you, right? But they're not saying that in regards to certain players who are 4 of 15 from the floor, or 1 of 8, or 5 of 12, or 4 for 13, or 3 of 15, or 5 for 12 in the last 4 or 7 games, though, right? So why is that? In that Orlando loss alone, the Hawks left 10 points on the board in the fourth quarter off of passes from Trae Young, as Trae had 15 points in the fourth quarter himself, right? And this is being brought up again because it's foolish to continue to try to blame Trae Young and Trae Young alone for losses that we're incurring right now on a week-to-week basis. So again, I'm going to show this in the future as far as some game reviews. But Jordan, can the Hawks win 7 in a row out of nowhere and formally get back into this race to get to the 6th spot? Or are we facing another play-in situation? And if so, can we win the play-in?
Listening to Sports Radio 92.1, Sports Visions, and Around the ATL. Well, first of all, everybody who is blaming Trae Young with that last game is absolutely out of their mind. The Atlanta Hawks were plus 26 with Trae Young on the floor. The next closest guy was Onyeka Okongwu at plus 10. So clearly that tells you the Hawks were very bad when Trae was not on the floor in that win over Miami. Unfortunately, sir, I hate to report, but I think the race to get back to the 6th seed is done. The Detroit Pistons have won 7 games in a row, and that win over us, including and also winning since then, has given them a 5-game lead over us, plus the tiebreaker. So basically a 6-game lead with 24 games left. I think that's probably going to be too much to overcome, unfortunately. I think the shift now the focus now has to shift to ensuring that you're either the 7th seed or the 8th seed. You don't want to be 9th or 10th and have to face Chicago again in a win or go home game like last year. And so, if you are 7 or 8 and you win, you move on to the 7th seed. But if you don't win, you at least get another shot to get the 8th seed by playing against the winner of the 9-10 game. So it's imperative that we finish 7 or 8. We do not want to be 9th or 10th, sir.
I agree with all of that completely, except I still have in the back of my mind, somehow they're going to finish 6th because I predicted that October 2nd. I need them to finish 6th place.
Well, if Jalen Johnson didn't go down, I'm confident that your prediction would have indeed been correct, sir.
Yeah. In that Miami win, Mann had 15 points, Karis LeVert had 15, and Yang had 11 off the bench. Those three have to basically have double digits the rest of the season. Muhammad Gay,
Yes,
for his
sir.
15 minutes played, he has to get at least 10 points a game. Okongwu, of course, he needs to be able to give us 14 to 17 a game plus his defense. Dyson, at least 10 plus a game plus his defense, rebounds. Of course, his steals. He had 7 steals against Miami. But the biggest factor, again, is Zach. 2 points isn't enough in 26 minutes. I know he's a rookie, but again, he's the number 1 pick of the NBA draft, and we've seen him do it, right? And right now, we need as much as we can get out of him in that starting role to accommodate the rest of the starting lineup and Trae Young, because if Trae Young does have a bad shooting night like he did have in that Miami game, but he still had 14 assists, he had 3 boards and a block, by the way. We only gave up, by the way, I wanted to mention this real quick before we get out of here. The Hawks one of the reasons we beat Miami, we only gave up 7 fast break points and only gave up 38 points in the paint. The Heat only hit 17.5% from 3. So again, I always talk about points in the paint, second chance points, and fast break points and 3-point percentage as some of the reasons the Hawks lose a lot of games. So we saw that change in this Miami Heat game, and we won that game. So again, I just hope that the Hawks, can get back on it. We know we're still missing 2 players too. We're still 2 players down, Vitt and Larry Nance Jr., which doesn't look like Larry Nance is going to be able to make it back. Vitt might be able to at the very end of the season. I just want to see the Hawks compete. And I really want to see the Hawks in the playoffs this year, and I think they can do it. We're going to find out eventually, though. That being said, folks, again, it's a great night. It's very fun trying to fit all these. Go ahead, Jordan.
Quick shout out to Dyson Daniels, who had 7 steals in that last game over Miami. That he now has the two of the longest 5-game spans of steals, basically the most steals in 5-game span since 2000. He had a 5-game span where he had 29 steals earlier in the season, and he now has 23 steals over his last 5 games currently, which, like I said, is 2 of the top 10 5-game spans since the year 2000. And he's putting up the greatest steals numbers we've seen since Michael Jordan. He absolutely should be Defensive Player of the Year, sir. One last thing, you had a great point when you talked about Terrence Mann and Karis LeVert. I think their production is key to the Hawks winning games going forward.
Please tell others about us. If you're in Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia, Texas, Australia, London, Africa, wherever you are, tell them about Around the ATL on SportsVisions 92.1 FM on the TuneIn app. That anybody who enjoys Atlanta and Georgia sports. Again, you can keep up on the IMTM website as well. You can follow us on Twitter, Intellect ATL and Jordan23 ATL on Twitter. Don't forget, if you're in Columbus or in Atlanta, you can always go to Southern Classic Transportation, comfort and courtesy on arrival. Make sure you call 404-291-0150. Let them know that Around the ATL sent you if you need some transportation in and around the city. And lastly, our last sponsor for tonight, make sure you contact IMTMWorldwideImages.com for any photography needs. By the way, the early March, they are going to be available that week. So you might want to hit them up and book your shoot right now. Jordan, any last words, sir?
Yes, in fact, I think you guys should just call Southern Classic Transportation and IMTM Worldwide Images and get you a photo shoot taken in front of one of the vehicles of Southern Classic Transportation. So that way you could just get it all done at one time. But with that being said, thank you to everybody for listening to us on Around the ATL. We really enjoy coming to you guys. We try to get you as much as we can in an action-packed 30-minute show. But last but not least, shout out to my mom going through chemo. Just had a treatment earlier this week. I love you, Mom. Last but not least, I want to thank God for giving me this breath that I breathe to talk about these Atlanta, these Georgia sports that I love. Peace up, A-Town down.
Don't forget to tune in every Thursday night, SportsVisions 92.1 FM, to listen to Around the ATL on the TuneIn app. And you can always watch the live stream on the IMTM Worldwide Radio YouTube page. Until next week, always be watching, always be listening. Around the ATL. Peace.
Dribble, pass, throw, catch, hit, slide, grab, respect.